In this lesson, we're going to continue with the chassis. We're going to add some of these cross members and these braces up top. So let's get started. Left viewport, zoom. I'm going to make this little bar here. Could do it with either a primitive object like a box, but we're going to do it with a rectangle spline again. I'm going to click here, drag it out. Again, you may need F3 to see what's going on. Okay, that's good. And perspective, P. I'm going to push that out a little bit. W for move. Let's push it out, but not all the way to the edge. I'm going to go in the modifier rollout, extrude. Let's extrude it 5 inches, being that our chassis frame is 6 inches. We'll try 5 inches. Let's push that back a little bit, just like that. That looks good. Okay. I'm going to switch it up on you a little. We're going to collapse that down to an editable poly. It becomes an edit mesh first. Right click on edit mesh. Create an editable poly. Let's go to edge. Select all. Let's do a quick chamfer. We're not going to go crazy. Let's right click that value and left click and roll. That looks good. So 0.316 inches. I'm going to say OK. That just gives a little bevel to it. I'm not sure that we'll ever appreciate it where it's positioned, but it's good to have. And let's go to left viewport. Let's repurpose this part. Let's first call it brace 01. OK. Click, roll out a little bit. We're going to zoom out. Let's shift and drag that one time as an instance. Let's shift and drag it again. Instance. One more time. As an instance. Okay. P for perspective. Let's take a look. Rotate around a little bit. That looks good. Okay. So now these pieces up top, and they kind of brace. There are going to be 2 of these chassis sections, and they're spaced apart. And these pieces are going to brace the chassis from side to side. So what we're going to do is build this profile first. Let's zoom in. We'll use the line tool. Let's click here. F3 if you need to. Click. Bezier a little bit. Click. Click. I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to click here, and I'm just going to go down, around, back up, and back there. Close spline, yes. Probably should line that up better, but that's not a big deal. We can take this first vert right here. Let's just delete it. Okay, and let's move that. There's a slight jaggy to that line. We'll just shift that up. That's better. Okay. F3. Let's take these 2 vertices, select them, and move them in a little. That's better. Let's take these 2 and move them up a little bit. There we go. That looks good. Could probably get rid of this one as well. Let's see. Not really. Let's keep it. Okay, with that done, perspective P. Let's move this line, this spline, right out here. Somewhere around the middle, I'll say. Okay, and let's go to extrude. Modifier rollout. We'll go to extrude. There it is. It's too thick. Let's go with 1. That's an inch. Let's say that's good for now. And position it. Okay. Now what happens here is that this will bridge the gap between this side and the other side, which we're going to place in a few minutes. So we need a little geometry to support the fact that we're going to span this across that area. So we're going to go editable poly, edit poly. There we go. Vertex. And what we want to do is we're going to go to Graphite Modeling Tools, P-Connect, Paint Connect. It's kind of a really interactive way to model. I don't mind using these tools at all. And you're not going to hold control like we do when we do verts. We're just going to click and drag it across. And then now we have that line. We're going to control to catch that vert. I'm going to drag it down to the bottom. Rotate your model. We're in F3 so we can see wireframe. Once again, you'll control, square appears, drag across, rotate around, and finally control, hold down Control again, right across. And now with that loop selected, we can make planar along the X, third time's a charm. There we go. So now, if we want to, later on we can select a polygon like that one and extrude it across the bridge. We can also do that at the bottom if we need to. So that piece is set up for later use. So let's go left viewport. L for left. Keyboard override is kicking in there. Okay, that's because we're in edit poly. So now I'm going to shift drag this right to there as an instance. Do it again as an instance. And in this case, we're going to shift drag it this way as an instance and mirror it along the X. And let's just close that gap down a little bit. There's a gap there. Okay. Okay, so now those are set up. They're in the right position. So when we clone this whole assembly, we're going to drag it over. We'll be able to make a bridge piece that goes across and unifies this chassis as one big piece. So I'm going to pause the video. In the next video, we're going to make this little front bumper section, and then we may clone the chassis, make the second half, and bridge the gap. So I'll see you then.